Life in Nigeria used to be adored with the cream of human kindness and love. Where you come from and the religion you practice does not matter or define your relationships. The situation we now find ourselves is very unfortunate. The number of people that have died in the hands of terrorists, separatists, bandits, ritualists, kidnappers, and all forms of criminal activities remind us of the civil war that was fought to keep Nigeria one. That war was aimed at providing unity, but what is the aim of the present bloodletting that is flowing freely in Nigeria, even in places of worship, cannot be imagined. Even though the military government then declared that there was no victor and no vanquished after the war, the scar of that war has and is still with us. May God never allow that tragedy to happen in our nation again. If there was political understanding, common sense would have prevailed, and that war would have been avoided. The military then knew that there was need to reconstruct the minds of Nigerians to love with mutual trust and understanding. To facilitate this particular effort, the government set up the NYSC scheme, which was created in 1972 as an avenue for the reconciliation, reconstruction, and rebuilding of the nation after the Civil War. Today, questions still linger. How did we get to this level where human life means nothing? It's so sad, very, very sad. A lot of us will have, if we cast our minds back to the 70s, maybe even late 80s, you start imagining whether you are still living in the same Nigeria today. You know, maybe the devil has created a house within Nigeria today and is just causing problems all over for us. The plausible answer to this question is to rise from where we have fallen. This is why the theme of the second quarter of this Nirec meeting is apt to our nation. Love is a virtue that develops from the human heart. From the heart, love flows all over. Love constructs the smooth road to peaceful coexistence, freedom of conscience, and self-determination call for understanding. Love enables human beings to conquer prejudice and other negative preconceptions. Our children must be taught to love from the cradle. To stop loving is to stop living. Parents must therefore teach their children the value of love, peace, and freedom. Hatred is the weapon of lazy people, cowards, and those who have no intellectual power to negotiate through dialogue. The child belongs to the community and the society. Those who are responsible for child formation must not and must never indoctrinate the child to a point of teaching the child how to hate. Children learn first from their parents and their surrounding environment. A child easily learns the language of his environment with the attendant culture and tradition. That is why we must allow love and understanding to reign supreme in our societies. Children who never experience love from their parents or immediate environment cannot show love to anybody. Children who lack parenting or home training can slaughter human beings like animals. We need role models in every society. We need religious and moral teachers who can teach the youth to focus on realistic goals and true values. The adults must allow the young ones to see them loving and understanding one another. Young Christians and Muslims seeing religious leaders together in a forum like this Nirec encourages them to live in love and understanding. Street children who are victims of lack of parenting and milk of kindness must be shown love. Otherwise, they become applicants in criminal organizations, which we must avoid. This love can be given through mental re-engineering and education. Those who have been brainwashed need to be de-radicalized so that we all can live in peace and harmony. To produce a healthy society, hope for the future must be assured through a functional love and understanding. It is those who do not understand the true meaning of love that resort to use of force and power instead of creative relationships. Love enables the anger in the human person to be controlled and conquered. Every family is happy to see the children grow gracefully and to grow in strength, love, and wisdom. Love is therefore an imperative that commands human beings to sow seeds of peace, walk alongside the poor, the abandoned, the infirm, and the outcast without physical borders. Love knows no bounds. It transcends differences of origin, nationality, color, and religion. As religious, traditional, and political leaders, we must resist the temptation to wage war of words aimed at imposing doctrines and religious differences. God gave us a mission to simply spread the love of God, because God is love, and those who abide in love abide in God. In love, we are not to defend criminals because they share our faith and tribe. Even in sourcing for political leaders, it is always advisable that we should be guided by patriotism and not other primordial sentiments. We all know that politics of tribe and religion has never served any nation. Choosing a leader for a nation is akin to adopting a father who will show love to all the children without discrimination. In this way, we as leaders, especially through Nirec, must play the role of fathers to all and should inspire the vision of a fraternal society. Only the man who approaches others not to draw them into their own life, but to help them become even more fully themselves can be called a father. That's more of mentors. As we approach the electoral year, we must resolve to welcome true peace into our hearts and free ourselves of the desire to wield power over others. We need to discover new ways of living in harmony with all, so that these feelings of threat of war in our nation will vanish from our hearts. The meeting of Pope Francis and the Grand Imam Ahmad Al-Tayyib in Abu Dhabi is an example of how Christians and Muslims can promote love and understanding. In that meeting, the great religious leaders declared that God has created all human beings equal in rights, duties, and dignity, and has called them to live together as brothers and sisters. That meeting was not a mere diplomatic gesture, but a reflection born of dialogue and common commitment. In the face of present-day attempts to eliminate or ignore others, we may prove capable of responding with a new vision of fraternity and social friendship that will not remain at the level of words. Let these resolutions and communique of this meeting be an invitation to dialogue among all people of goodwill in Nigeria and the whole world. The COVID-19 pandemic has showed the world that everybody needs somebody in the face of death. The pandemic has showed humanity that we are mere mortals, and that if God intends to shut down the world, it wouldn't take him less than a second to do that particular thing. The pandemic ought to have taught humanity the value of love and mutual understanding. If we obey the commandment to love just as we obeyed the commandment to survive the pandemic, the world will forever be a peaceful and loving abode for humanity. COVID-19 exposed our false securities. Aside from different ways that various countries responded to the crisis, we witnessed a fragmentation that made it more difficult to resolve problems that affected all of us. At the end of the day, one will have expected a radical change in human relationships. Now is the time to acknowledge the dignity of each human person. By doing so, we can contribute to the rebirth of a universal aspiration to fraternity and love. Now is the time to dream and turn human life into a wonderful adventure. We need one another. We need a community that supports and helps us in loving and understanding each other. If we live alone, we risk seeing mirages, things that are not there. Dreams, on the other hand, are built together. Let us dream, then as a single human family, as fellow travelers, sharing the same flesh, as children of the same earth, which is our common home, each of us bringing the richness of his or her beliefs and convictions, each of us with his or her own voice, brothers and sisters. Let us love and understand each other, just like His Eminence was preaching the other time, so that we can make progress in Nigeria. We thank the leadership of Nirec for this second quarter meeting. We thank the Governor of Oyo State and his cabinet, and as well as the people of Oyo State for hosting this meeting. Thank you, and God bless all of us.